Groovy English Podcast.
Hey there! Welcome back to Groovy English. I'm Chloe.
And I'm Aiden. We share real stories, useful tips, and everyday English to help you grow with confidence.
Wherever you are in your English learning journey, we're glad you're here.
If you're enjoying the podcast, feel free to like, subscribe, or share it with a friend.
Let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Groovy English Podcast. I'm Olivia, and today I want to take you on a journey, not just to places I've been, but also to the corners of the world that exist in dreams, memories, and stories. Travel has always fascinated me, not just because of the sights we see, but because of the experiences, the people we meet, and the way it changes us, sometimes subtly and sometimes profoundly. In this episode, we'll explore personal travel stories, dream destinations, and the hidden magic in every journey, both near and far. I remember my very first solo trip vividly. I was nervous, excited, and slightly overwhelmed all at once. The plane took off, and as I looked out the window, I felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration. There's something transformative about stepping into the unknown, about leaving familiar streets behind and trusting yourself to navigate a completely new environment. That trip taught me that travel is as much about self-discovery as it is about sightseeing. In that journey, every small moment became memorable. The way a local street smelled after rain, the chatter of markets full of colors and voices, and the laughter of children playing in alleys, all of it felt like a living story. I realized then that travel isn't only about landmarks or famous monuments. It's about noticing the texture of life, the rhythms of a place, and the subtle details that bring a destination to life. I've had the joy of experiencing destinations that seemed like they were plucked straight from a dream. One morning in a small coastal town, I watched the sun rise over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold. The waves lapped gently against the shore, and the smell of salty air mixed with the aroma of freshly baked bread from a nearby bakery. It was quiet, simple, yet it felt like a moment of pure magic. Moments like that remind me why we travel, to witness beauty that exists beyond the ordinary. Some of my most unforgettable memories come from the people I've met while traveling. A shopkeeper who offered me a cup of tea and a story about the history of his town, a fellow traveler who shared tips and laughter during a long train ride, or a local artist who explained their work with passion and pride. These connections create layers of meaning that last far longer than the souvenirs we bring home. Human interaction is one of the greatest treasures of any journey. I've also learned that travel is rarely perfect. Missed buses, language barriers, or unexpected storms can be frustrating in the moment, but in retrospect, these challenges often become the most memorable stories. They teach patience, resilience, and the ability to find joy even when things don't go exactly as planned. In a way, the imperfections are what make travel real, authentic, and deeply human. One of my dream destinations has always been the rolling hills and vineyards of Tuscany. I imagine waking up to the smell of fresh espresso, wandering through cobblestone streets, and discovering hidden cafes tucked into quiet corners. I dream of standing in a sunlit field, the warmth on my skin, the gentle breeze moving through the tall grass, and feeling a sense of timeless serenity. Dream destinations are often more than just sights. They are feelings we long to experience. Another destination that fascinates me is the bustling energy of Tokyo. The neon lights, the organized chaos, and the delicate balance between ancient traditions and futuristic innovation captivate me. I imagine walking through narrow streets lined with tiny restaurants, listening to the chatter, savoring sushi made with care, and noticing the juxtaposition of modernity and history. Tokyo feels like a city that's alive in every sense, a place where every corner tells a story. Travel stories also include the unexpected adventures, the detours, the small discoveries, the spontaneous moments that weren't on any itinerary. Like the time I stumbled upon a tiny, hidden temple in a village I hadn't planned to visit. No guidebook mentioned it, and yet it became one of the most peaceful, moving experiences of my trip. These unplanned moments are often the ones that remain vivid in memory. I've learned that travel isn't always about faraway places. Sometimes the most meaningful journeys happen close to home. Exploring a neighboring town, hiking a local trail, or attending a cultural festival in a nearby city can provide a sense of discovery and wonder. Travel is about curiosity, openness, and the willingness to see the world through fresh eyes, no matter the distance. One thing I love about travel is the way it shapes storytelling. Every journey has a narrative, the anticipation before departure, the first glimpse of a new place, the highs and lows along the way, and the reflections afterward. Sharing these stories connects us to others, inspires curiosity, and reminds us that the world is filled with diverse experiences waiting to be explored. Dream destinations are often shaped by stories we hear, books we read, and images we see. A photograph of a serene lake, a travelogue describing a hidden village, or a friend's vivid recollection of a festival can spark a desire to go there. These dreams motivate us to explore, to expand our horizons, and to carry a sense of wonder in our hearts, even before we arrive. I also notice that travel teaches humility. Encountering cultures, languages, and customs different from our own reminds us that the world is vast and diverse. It encourages us to listen, observe, and appreciate perspectives other than our own. In these moments, happiness emerges not from control or perfection, but from openness, learning, and shared humanity. One of the most joyful aspects of travel is the food. Every region has its flavors, aromas, and culinary traditions. I remember tasting a local pastry in a small French village and savoring the delicate layers and subtle sweetness. Each bite felt like a story, a connection to the people who had perfected the recipe over generations. Food allows us to experience culture in the most intimate and tangible way. Travel also invites reflection. Watching people move through their routines, noticing cultural nuances, or observing natural landscapes encourages introspection. I often find myself thinking about how I live, what I value, and how my perspective shifts in new surroundings. These reflective moments are gifts, offering growth alongside enjoyment. Some of the most cherished travel memories involve quiet mornings. Waking early, Hearing birds, watching fishermen prepare their boats, or observing streets slowly come to life. These moments feel like life unfolding in its simplest, most beautiful form. There's a subtle joy in observing life's rhythms, untouched by the rush of schedules or expectations. Dreaming about destinations is almost as powerful as visiting them. The anticipation, the planning, and imagining every detail, walking along sandy beaches, climbing mountain trails, or wandering through ancient streets can bring happiness even before departure. Our imagination has the power to transport us, and these mental journeys enrich our lives in a meaningful way. Travel is also about capturing memories, not necessarily through photos, but through feelings. The exhilaration of trying something new, the serenity of a quiet moment, the connection to a place, these experiences are stored in our hearts and minds. Reflecting on these memories long after a trip ends brings happiness that lasts far beyond the journey itself. Even simple gestures while traveling create lasting impressions. A smile exchanged with a local, a small act of kindness from a fellow traveler, or a shared laugh over an unexpected mishap, these moments make journeys memorable. Travel teaches that joy is often found in the small, human interactions that remind us of our shared humanity. I've realized that every journey, no matter how short or long, carries lessons. Patience, curiosity, empathy, and gratitude are often learned in the most unexpected moments. Even minor inconveniences become stories that teach resilience and perspective. In travel, happiness is woven through both adventure and stillness, through novelty and simplicity. Sometimes I find that the magic of travel lies not in the famous landmarks or must-see attractions, but in the small, almost invisible moments. It might be the way sunlight filters through the trees on a quiet street, or the aroma of a local bakery that pulls me inside. These subtle experiences often create memories more vivid than grand vistas because they are felt, not just observed. Walking down unfamiliar streets can be its own adventure. Each corner offers the possibility of a new discovery, a colorful mural, a tiny cafe tucked away in an alley, or a street musician whose music resonates with the rhythm of the city. In these moments, I feel alive, fully present, and acutely aware of the world around me, as if each step I take is part of a living story. Travel teaches patience in unexpected ways. Waiting for a train that is delayed, navigating a crowded market, or figuring out public transportation in a foreign city can test patience, but it also offers opportunities to observe and learn. I often find that these unplanned pauses lead to the most memorable experiences, from watching the daily life of locals to stumbling upon hidden gems that guidebooks rarely mention. One of my favorite aspects of travel is the sensory immersion it provides. The sound of waves crashing against rocks, the scent of spices in an open-air market, the warmth of sun on my skin, all of these moments anchor me in the present. I've learned that paying attention to sensory details not only enriches travel experiences, but also deepens my appreciation for the world itself. I recall a morning in a small coastal town where I woke to the scent of salt water and the distant chatter of fishermen preparing their boats. The world felt peaceful and unhurried, and I wandered through narrow streets lined with pastel-colored houses. Each interaction, from a nod to a passing local to a shared smile with a cafe owner, added layers of meaning to the day, reminding me that joy often resides in the simplest gestures. Dream destinations are often inspired by stories we hear or images we see. A friend describing their trip to Iceland, a photograph of a sunset over Santorini, or a travel article about hidden villages in Japan can spark a longing in the heart. These mental journeys, full of imagination and anticipation, are sometimes as fulfilling as the physical act of travel itself. I've noticed that travel brings an awareness of time in a unique way. Early mornings in a foreign city have a quiet magic. Shops are just opening, streets are empty, and the air feels crisp and new. I often take walks during these hours, listening to the city wake up, and I feel a sense of intimacy with a place that is rarely available to those rushing through their daily lives. Food is one of the richest portals into culture and happiness during travel. I remember sitting at a small family-run restaurant in southern Italy, tasting pasta made fresh that morning, paired with locally grown olive oil. Each bite carried history, tradition, and love. Food connects us to the land, the people, and the culture in a way nothing else can. Even minor inconveniences become part of the story. Getting lost in a winding alleyway, missing a bus, or misunderstanding a menu can feel frustrating initially, but these moments often lead to unexpected discoveries. A chance encounter with a local, a hidden park, or a tiny shop can transform a moment of confusion into a cherished memory. Travel teaches that detours are often the most rewarding paths. I often reflect on the ways travel changes my perspective. Seeing different cultures, lifestyles, and landscapes challenges assumptions and broadens understanding. I notice how humans find joy, community, and resilience in ways both familiar and surprising. These reflections linger long after the trip ends, shaping how I view my own life and the world around me. Nature has an unparalleled power to inspire and calm. Hiking through misty mountains, standing before vast deserts, or watching the gentle sway of rice paddies in the wind creates a connection to something larger than oneself. Even small moments, like watching a butterfly flit between flowers or the sun glinting on a river, bring profound happiness and a sense of wonder. Travel also teaches me humility. In foreign lands, I am reminded of how much I don't know, how different languages, customs, and traditions can be. I learn to ask questions, observe closely, and approach situations with respect and curiosity. These lessons extend beyond travel, enriching everyday life with patience, empathy, and openness. One of my dream destinations has always been Kyoto in Japan. I imagine walking beneath the arches of red torii gates at Fushimi Inari, hearing the soft rustle of bamboo leaves, and smelling incense wafting from ancient temples. Kyoto feels like a city suspended in time, where tradition and nature coexist in serene harmony, offering both inspiration and tranquility. Another place I long to visit is Patagonia. The vast, open landscapes, jagged mountains, and glacial rivers evoke a sense of freedom that is hard to describe. I imagine hiking along trails with nothing but wind, sky, and rock around me, feeling the scale of the world and the smallness of my own worries. Dream destinations like these aren't just about sightseeing, they're about feeling alive and awed. Some of the most unexpected joys of travel come from shared experiences. A fellow traveler pointing out a hidden viewpoint, laughing together over a misadventure, or exchanging stories on a train ride can create bonds that feel instant and meaningful. These moments remind me that connection, empathy, and laughter are universal, transcending language and geography. I've learned that the anticipation of travel is as joyful as the experience itself. Planning, imagining, and daydreaming about destinations creates excitement and hope. Reading about a new city, studying a map, or learning a few phrases in another language enriches the journey even before I step foot outside my door. Travel begins in the mind long before the body embarks. Even in bustling cities, there is a quiet to be found. Early morning walks, moments in small parks, or the pause before a crowded market opens provide glimpses of calm amidst chaos. I often notice these pockets of serenity and feel a sense of gratitude for their subtle presence, which makes the busier, louder moments even more vibrant by contrast. The rhythm of local life fascinates me. Observing routines, from morning coffee rituals to evening street markets, provides insight into culture, priorities, and joy. Travel allows me to witness life unfolding in countless forms, reminding me that happiness often exists in the ordinary, everyday patterns that make each place unique. I recall a memory of sitting on a cliffside in Greece, watching the sunset bleed across the horizon. The colors shifted slowly, blending sky and sea into a moment of perfect stillness. Around me, other travelers were also silent, absorbed in the spectacle. That shared, unspoken reverence felt like a secret joy, a reminder that beauty and wonder are universally accessible. Language barriers, too, offer their own surprises. Gestures, smiles, and shared laughter can communicate warmth and understanding even when words fail. These moments reveal that the essence of human connection doesn't always rely on speech. It relies on attention, presence, and kindness. Travel teaches adaptability. Adjusting to new climates, schedules, or customs challenges comfort zones and encourages flexibility. I've noticed that learning to go with the flow, to embrace unpredictability, often leads to the most rewarding experiences. Happiness in travel frequently emerges when we relinquish control and open ourselves to whatever comes next. Sometimes I find profound joy in solitary travel. Walking alone along a quiet beach, exploring a museum at my own pace, or sitting in a cafe with nothing to do but observe allows reflection and self-connection. These solo moments create a balance between external exploration and internal discovery, deepening the sense of fulfillment. Dreaming about far-off lands fuels imagination and hope. From the icy fjords of Norway to the golden deserts of Morocco, envisioning these destinations encourages curiosity and fuels a desire to experience life fully. Even if the trips are far in the future, the act of dreaming keeps wonder alive, reminding me that adventure is always possible. Travel also cultivates gratitude. Witnessing lifestyles different from my own, observing natural beauty, or sharing in cultural traditions fosters appreciation for both the familiar and the unknown. Gratitude enhances every experience, turning even small discoveries into lasting joy. I often collect memories more than souvenirs. Photographs, journals, sketches, and even mental snapshots help preserve feelings and impressions. These collections of experiences, rather than material objects, become treasures that I can revisit anytime, rekindling happiness long after the journey ends. The rhythm of travel varies from place to place. Some destinations move quickly, bustling with energy, while others unfold slowly, inviting stillness and reflection. Learning to attune to each location's pace enriches the experience and allows me to find joy whether surrounded by movement or in quiet contemplation. I've discovered that repeated visits to a place offer deeper insights than a single trip. Returning allows for familiarity, understanding, and a richer connection to the environment and its people. Each visit adds layers to my experience, deepening appreciation for culture, landscape, and the subtle changes that occur over time. Travel often inspires creativity. Writing, photography, painting, or storytelling flows more freely when inspired by new sights, sounds, and emotions. The act of capturing and sharing these experiences extends joy beyond the immediate moment, creating a ripple effect that connects imagination and reality. Even mundane moments during travel can become meaningful. Waiting at a bus stop, watching a storm pass, or observing locals go about daily life teaches patience and awareness. These ordinary experiences often carry the quiet magic that transforms a simple journey into a cherished memory. I've realized that travel shapes perspective on life. Experiencing different cultures, landscapes, and ways of living expands empathy, understanding, and appreciation for diversity. These lessons travel with me, influencing how I interact with my surroundings and deepening my connection to the world. Travel has a way of slowing time, even if just for a moment. Watching the sun rise over a quiet village or seeing the streets come alive with morning energy feels different from the usual rhythm of life at home. In these pauses, I notice details I might otherwise overlook. The way shadows stretch, the sound of birdsong mingling with distant footsteps, or the aroma of bread baking in a nearby kitchen. These subtle impressions create a sense of intimacy with the place and a quiet happiness that lingers. One of my most memorable experiences came from wandering into a tiny, family-run bookstore in a city I had never visited before. The air smelled of old paper and polished wood, and the shelves seemed to stretch endlessly. A soft-spoken owner recommended a local author, and as I flipped through the pages, I felt connected not only to the city, but to the generations of people who had walked these streets before me. Travel, I've realized, is full of these small, unexpected treasures. Even mundane activities like waiting for public transportation can become memorable in a new environment. Sitting on a bench and observing the flow of people, the sounds of passing vehicles, and the unique rhythm of daily life can feel like a lesson in patience and mindfulness. These ordinary moments, when viewed with curiosity, often become some of the most vivid memories of a trip. I've found that the best travel stories often come from mistakes or accidents. Missing a train and taking a detour through unknown streets, getting caught in sudden rain, or ordering something I didn't understand on a menu, all of these moments have led to surprises, discoveries, and laughter. These imperfections are what make travel real, human, and full of charm. One of the joys of travel is the variety of perspectives it offers. Observing how locals move through their day, interact with each other, and approach challenges provides insight into different ways of living. These observations inspire empathy and understanding, reminding me that happiness can be cultivated in many forms, and that joy is often found in ways we may not expect. I recall sitting on a cliffside overlooking the ocean in a place far from home. The waves crashed rhythmically against the rocks below, seagulls wheeled overhead, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of salt and seaweed. In that moment, I felt a profound sense of connection to the world and to life itself. Travel often offers these moments of awe, where the beauty of nature humbles and uplifts all at once. Dream destinations are not just about physical locations, they're about experiences and feelings. The excitement of anticipation, the thrill of discovery, and the peace of being fully present in a new environment are what make travel meaningful. Even imagining a serene sunset on a distant beach or wandering through a quiet mountain town can spark joy, reminding us that happiness often begins in the mind. Even small gestures from strangers during travel can leave lasting impressions. A smile from someone in a cafe, a helping hand when navigating a street, or someone patiently answering a question in a foreign language creates a sense of warmth and human connection. These moments teach that kindness transcends culture and language and can turn ordinary travel days into memorable experiences. I often find happiness in solitary exploration. Walking through a museum, strolling along a quiet street, or sitting in a park allows for reflection and observation. Traveling alone provides freedom to move at my own pace, to notice subtle details, and to immerse myself fully in the surroundings, which often leads to moments of unexpected joy. Language, or the lack of it, can also add an interesting layer to travel experiences. Gestures, smiles, and shared laughter become tools of communication when words fail, revealing the universality of human connection. Misunderstandings often become funny stories later, reminding me that happiness is sometimes about letting go of control and embracing spontaneity. Traveling teaches the importance of adaptation. From navigating new climates to adjusting to cultural norms, learning to be flexible fosters resilience and a sense of accomplishment. Over time, I've realized that the ability to adapt enriches the travel experience and allows for a deeper appreciation of the places I visit. I've always been fascinated by markets when I travel. The vibrant colors, the mixture of smells, the rhythm of haggling, and the array of goods on display create a feast for the senses. Wandering through a market can feel like stepping into the heartbeat of a city, revealing local life in a way that guidebooks rarely capture. Even ordinary landscapes can hold extraordinary moments. A foggy morning in a quiet village, a golden hour on a suburban street, or a snow-dusted park can feel cinematic and magical when observed attentively. Travel trains us to notice these subtle beauties and find delight in them, transforming the everyday into something remarkable. Travel also encourages storytelling. Every journey, whether short or long, becomes a collection of narratives of people met, sights seen, and feelings experienced. Sharing these stories connects me to others, inspires curiosity, and allows memories to live on beyond the trip itself. I've found that reading about places before visiting them enhances the travel experience. Learning historical, cultural, and social context creates depth and understanding, making each site and encounter richer. Preparation allows me to notice layers of meaning that might otherwise go unnoticed, adding to the joy of discovery. Even brief moments of interaction with locals leave lasting memories. A conversation with a taxi driver, advice from a hotel receptionist, or a shared laugh in a cafe adds humanity to a journey. These small, often fleeting interactions carry warmth and connection, reminding me that happiness often comes from people rather than places. Travel teaches humility. Encountering unfamiliar customs, languages, and environments reminds me that I am one small part of a vast, diverse world. This perspective fosters gratitude and a sense of wonder, making every experience, both big and small, more meaningful. Sometimes, the journey itself is more impactful than the destination. Long train rides, winding roads, or boat trips allow time for reflection, observation, and daydreaming. These transitional moments create a rhythm that becomes part of the narrative, revealing the beauty of movement and change. I've discovered that repeated visits to a favorite location deepen connection. Returning allows me to notice details missed the first time, observe seasonal changes, and develop relationships with locals. Each visit adds layers to the story, enriching memories and creating a sense of familiarity amidst adventure. Travel inspires creativity. Writing, photography, sketching, or simply daydreaming about experiences unlocks imagination and allows memories to be reinterpreted. Capturing the essence of a place in a creative form extends the joy of travel, transforming fleeting moments into lasting inspiration. Finally, I've realized that travel is ultimately about perspective. Every journey, near or far, is a lens through which I can view the world differently. The sights, sounds, people, and stories encountered shape understanding, inspire gratitude, and create a collection of experiences that enrich life long after returning home. Happiness in travel is woven from anticipation, discovery, reflection, and human connection, an intricate tapestry that reminds me how vibrant and expansive the world truly is.
Your English is shining brighter by the minute. Hit that next video to keep leveling up your skills. Or dive into our other episodes for more secrets to talk like a pro. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to join the Groovy English crew.